Studio 31.
Forecast First is brought to you by Fayette Heating and Air.
A quiet morning out there, a little bit of fog will likely join you on your morning commute. If you're heading out and about here soon, you could encounter a little bit of that. Not thick stuff, though, showing up on our sky cam this morning. Things are pretty quiet there. It's 47 degrees in Lexington, 48 in Danville. You got 50s down to our south and out to our southeast. Flood watch in effect from today through Saturday night for the potential of heavy rain. Cause some high water issues out there. We'll be tracking more of that coming up in just a few minutes. The Fox 56 Morning Edition is on the air.
Jim, thank you. Here's what's coming up on the Morning Edition. 2 overnight shootings in Lexington. 1 young victim has serious injuries.
Plus, why Kentucky doctors say Omicron is defying expectations this winter.
And a survivor of the Mayfield Candle Factory collapse tells us about her escape and recovery.
The Fox 56 Morning Edition starts now.
Welcome to the Morning Edition on WDKY. I'm Victor Puente.
And I'm Shelby Lofton.
We begin with breaking news in Lexington. 2 people are hurt after separate shootings.
1 person, a juvenile, has serious injuries. The first shooting happened around 9 last night on Betsy Lane. That's near the Lexington Cemetery. First responders found a teen with life-threatening injuries. So far, police have not made any arrests in the case.
The second shooting happened before 3 this morning in the parking lot of 3090 Old Todd's Road. That's off Man of War. Police say a man was found shot. He is expected to survive. No arrests have been made in either of those shootings, and police are asking anyone with information to come forward. We have an update on the suspicious object Lexington police found in a stolen U-Haul this week. According to our news partners at the Herald Leader, police say it was a homemade box of hazardous materials. They did not say what specific kind of hazard it was. Police tracked down the stolen truck in the Cardinal Valley area Wednesday. The road was closed for a few hours while a special team investigated. 2 people are charged in connection to that incident, William Fields and Brandy Sanders. Doctors say Omicron could overtake the Delta variant in Kentucky within the next 10 days.
Right now, both variants have a hold on the Commonwealth. A few weeks ago, researchers were predicting a less severe winter surge than last time. Now they believe that's unlikely.
The big issue is we do not want to overwhelm our healthcare system. If someone needs a vent, we want to make sure they have a vent.
Doctors say Omicron appears less likely to cause severe symptoms, but because it's so infectious, it could still strain Kentucky hospitals.
Kentucky hospitals are still seeing COVID patients with Delta as Omicron grips the country. According to data from this week, less than 10% of Central Kentucky's ICU beds are available. Doctors say they rarely see COVID patients who are vaccinated.
Those folks who've received a booster, we see very few individuals who've received a booster admitted to the hospital.
We expect to get updated COVID numbers from the state on Monday.
We're seeing a high demand for COVID tests in Central Kentucky. Lexington set a record for COVID cases in a single day this week. The Wild Health testing site near Kroger Field has been administering more than 3,000 tests per day. Officials say that could soon top 4,000.
It breaks your heart that people are having to deal with this, but it also is encouraging that so many people in Lexington are wanting to protect themselves and their families and their neighbors and their co-workers from getting sick.
We have a link to schedule a COVID test in Lexington inside this story on foxlexington.com.
The time now, 7:04. Crews in eastern Kentucky are on standby as rain rolls in.
In March, historic flooding hit the region. Several feet of water flooded downtown Beattyville. That's why crews in Lee County spent much of yesterday checking their gear. They also began developing response plans just in case the weather gets rough this holiday weekend. Mayfield's tornado sirens are no longer functional.
Graves County Emergency Management tested them yesterday to see which ones survived this month's EF4 tornado. Turns out none of them worked. Leaders say the activation signal isn't strong enough. A technician will look at the system this weekend. Later today, transportation officials will be blocking certain roads in the area while crews repair damaged power lines.
FEMA agents are still doing rounds in western Kentucky. More than $5.5 million in aid is already approved for tornado survivors. Workers say that number should be much higher, so they're going door to door to convince more people to apply.
After something happens like this, many people don't want to leave their homes. They may not have power, they have a few possessions and they want to be with their possessions, and they may not have transportation.
FEMA's disaster relief centers will be open today and closed tomorrow.
More Central Kentucky police officers are taking shifts out west to help with tornado relief. 4 Georgetown police officers left on Monday to help with patrols. Mayor Tom Prather says it has been a moving experience.
They found it to be like all volunteers that went. They found it to be an incredibly moving and consequential experience. They witnessed so much suffering. And what they have brought back to us and what our commitment will be going into the future is to make sure that we plan as carefully as we can for the day when those events happen to Central Kentucky, and we need the assistance and we need to be prepared.
The 4 officers are expected to head back to Georgetown on January 3rd.
New this morning, a survivor of the Mayfield Candle Factory collapse is sharing her story.
An EF4 tornado in western Kentucky destroyed that building earlier this month. Jennifer Sanchez was inside. She says a wall nearly crushed her in that chaos. Somehow she crawled, found a hole big enough for her to escape. Visions of that night stay with her.
How you could breathe was the dust from all the drywall, you know, being torn in half. There's times I still can't sleep. Picture it's like if I'm still under them walls, trying to at least push the wall up, but the wall was just too heavy.
Sanchez says she's trying to stay strong for her children. Several of her co-workers sued the company for allegedly telling workers they could be fired for leaving ahead of that storm. The company denies those claims.
Dawson Springs is scaling back tornado relief operations at the junior-senior high school. Students head back to class on January 18th, so the building must be cleared out. Crews have been working to get utilities up and running again. Water District leader John Blaylock first rushed into action moments after the tornado hit.
I went through the neighborhood turning off gas lines because I was afraid, look, we made it through the tornado. Now we're going to, have a major explosion on the street. That was one of my fears, that we was going to have a fire and no water to put it out.
Blaylock lost his own home in the tornado. He plans to rebuild in the same spot.
Western Kentucky tornado victims are getting help from some Lexington High School athletes. The Frederick Douglass girls basketball team took supplies on their way to a tournament there. The team brought water, Clorox wipes, batteries, and other essential items to Center Point Church. That organization will then distribute the supplies to those in need.
John Prine's music will be the center of a benefit concert in Lexington tomorrow. The Burl is hosting Music for Paradise, a benefit for Western Kentucky tornado relief. Prine died in 2020 from COVID complications. He has family in Western Kentucky. Muhlenberg County, an area hit by a tornado, actually inspired the song Paradise. Tomorrow's show starts at 5 p.m. Tickets are $50. The online stream costs $20. All proceeds go to Western Kentucky.
Your morning news time now, 7:08.
Let's check in now with meteorologist Jim Caldwell for an early look at today's weather.
We are going to go into some heavy rain tracking mode around here because we are going to get round after round of showers and thunderstorms passing over the same spots again and again. We get these training of showers and storms, and that's going to lead us to flooding. That's why there's a flood watch already out for Friday, Saturday, today, tomorrow, throughout the entire day tomorrow, with locally heavy rains becoming a real issue in the forecast here as we move into the future. You see a little bit of rain out to our southwest. That's what we have crossing the border, and that's the scattered chance that we get for the daytime hours around here. The better chances won't be here until later on tonight. That's when we get to more widespread rain moving into the area. See the bubble of warmth? That's all starting to spill over into Kentucky again today. So we're going to be on the warm side as we end up in the low to mid 60s for your daytime highs. And those showers and storms will find us late tonight, and they'll hang around tomorrow as well. We could see somewhere between 1 and 4 inches, maybe locally higher, of total rainfall in Kentucky. When I come back in a few minutes, we'll run some of the model data so you can see exactly what to expect and when it's coming.
Jim, thanks. Now let's get a check on your morning traffic.
Here's a look at the Lexington Fayette Urban County government's live drive cam at Georgetown and Citation. Hopefully a lot of people have the day off today. Traffic is not something you're going to have to worry about.
Yeah, no major reports out there either. More staffing shortages are expected as Omicron cases surge in Kentucky.
Details are straight ahead in our business news.
The Big Bang Theory, 5 nights a week.
Weeknights at 6:30 and 7:30 on Fox 56.
Young Sheldon.
Weeknights at 7 on Fox 56. Rachel Ray. Weekdays at 9.
Pretty quiet out there this morning for most folks across Kentucky. You could run into a little bit of fog, and it could be locally dense, so just be careful as you start wandering around out there the next few hours. Sun will come up, and we'll mix in some clouds throughout the day as well. Plenty of showers and thunderstorms will be coming our way, too. We're sitting right now in the 40s and also in the 50s. It's 47 in Lexington. It's 52 in Somerset. It's 51 in Jackson. It's 43 in Mount Sterling. So you do see some differences there. A little bubble of warmth out ahead of the energy that's going to be driving in those chances of showers and thunderstorms. So a lot of that will spread more toward the north here and run the show for us across the great Commonwealth of Kentucky. Flash flooding and flooding a possibility here as we look at our flood watch graphics from today through tomorrow night. All the counties highlighted here in green could pick up somewhere between about 2 and 4 inches of total rainfall, maybe a little less than that in some cases, but we're talking a good chunk of heavy rain moving across Kentucky. A few broken showers already out across extreme southern sections of Kentucky. That will keep multiplying. I think we get a good scattered shot during the day and then a better, more widespread chance late tonight and then into the early morning hours tomorrow. So showers and thunderstorms line up across Kentucky, one right after the other. And that's where the flood risk comes into play because you don't catch a lot of relief and you get a lot of rain on ground that's already pretty saturated. Look at the temperatures out there. I mean, they're crazy. You've got 50s and 60s to our south, 40s there all of a sudden in Indianapolis. You get to Cedar Rapids are at 18, but look at Bismarck up there, 14 below zero. We're going to tap into that air mass. It's not going to get that cold around here, but we're going to tap into it and see our numbers come down quite a bit. The number that's going up, the rainfall total, and there's that swath where I'm thinking this is right on target with what I'm thinking by looking at other data, comparing, contrasting all the differences in each data set. This looks pretty good. A good rainfall forecast for us of 2 to 4 total inches of rain by the time this thing is all said and done. You look at the marginal risk of severe weather that's out here for Lexington and surrounding areas, a slight risk out to our south, the hour by hour. We'll push back into the 60s for highs again today. You can see that scattered chance. Then it thickens up. A more widespread shot of rain coming into play late tonight. Watch where the heaviest stuff sets up. It's right there where I was just showing you the heavy rainfall totals. Keeps going, blows up for a little while out east, fades away, and then makes a transition over to plain old snow as the cold air catches up. Here we go. 7-day forecast. Looking to the future. Showers, thunderstorms likely out there tonight, tomorrow. And then you get into the snow chance there on Sunday, and then we'll keep some morning flakes around for Monday. After that, it's kind of up and down with the systems arriving, warming us up briefly, then they drop the numbers back down yet again.
Jim, thank you. Your time now 7:16. Let's see how Wall Street starts the day. Markets are down this morning. The Dow fell 90 points. NASDAQ lost 24. The S&P 500 dropped 14 points. Local governments are preparing for more COVID-19 staffing shortages. Tops this morning's Fox 56 Bluegrass Business Report. Georgetown Mayor Tom Prather says the city has learned a lot since March of 2020. He says employees have learned to help each other across departments. In Richmond, Mayor Robert Blythe says they found creative ways to keep the city staffed, like cross-training employees.
For example, those in public works each knew the other's job. In finance department, for example, enough persons knew all of the jobs that were actually handled by that department that folks could just step right in and keep the work moving.
A spokesperson for the city of Lexington says they've been working to manage personnel issues since the pandemic began. Several state officials are opposing a proposed federal rule about retirement. It would allow some fiduciaries to make investment decisions based on data not related to finances, like climate change and social issues. Auditor Mike Harmon, Treasurer Allison Ball, and Attorney General Daniel Cameron made statements against the policy. Officials from nearly 24 other states also oppose the change. And Kentucky Girl Scouts are kicking off the year with a new cookie and new ways to buy them. The Adventurefuls are a brownie-like cookie with caramel and sea salt. This year, Girl Scouts are selling cookies on a new digital platform. There'll also be outdoor booths, and a new partnership with DoorDash will begin in February in Lexington. Spider-Man scores another box office record. The latest entertainment news is coming up after the break.
Dr. Phil, weekdays at 4. Weeknights on Fox 56.
January 1st, wake up to a morning newscast that stays local from 5 to 9.
And instead of national news, come home to local at 6:30.
Because Kentucky is our home.
And Fox 56 is your news.
The Rock is saying no to another Fast and Furious movie. Ashley Dvorkin has this morning's look inside entertainment.
We know that Cobra Kai is going to use every dirty trick in the book.
No Mercy binge watching, No Way Home web slinging, and The Rock says not so fast in the Hollywood nation. Dwayne Johnson will not be returning to the Fast and Furious franchise. Johnson tells CNN when he and Vin Diesel connected this past June, not over social media. He told him directly and privately that he would not be returning to the franchise. This follows an Instagram post in November by Vin Diesel asking Dwayne to return for the 10th installment, which is due in theaters May 2023.
They all die fighting Spider-Man.
Another day, another Spider-Man record. Per Deadline, No Way Home has now banked over $536 million in less than 2 weeks at the domestic box office, making it the 12th highest grossing movie in the U.S. and Canada, outpacing Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and The Dark Knight.
You got to take things to the next level.
When Cobra Kai Season 4 kicks off, it brings back another familiar character from Karate Kid past. And Thomas Ian Griffith tells us a lot will be learned this time around about Terry Silver.
The original Terry Silver is this, archetypal over the type character. And, you ask a lot of questions like, well, why was he doing what he's doing? And what has he been up to all these years? And they answer those questions for me.
Season 4 premieres December 31st on Netflix. And co-creator John Hurwitz tweeted Season 5 has already wrapped filming. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Time is now 7:23. The Fox 56 2-minute drill is next.
Kentucky will retire the jersey of Tubby Smith later today. That's next in sports.
Commonwealth Credit Union. We see you differently. Judge Judy. Weekdays at 5 and 5:30 on Fox 56.
The Wildcats will play a 6th straight bowl game on Saturday when they face Iowa, but it should be the most balanced Kentucky has been on the offensive side of the ball in a bowl game in recent history. Brian Milam has more from Orlando.
Anytime there is a bowl game, much like the Tennessee-Purdue game, you want to see a lot of points, or at least that's the entertainment value. Kentucky revamped its offense this year after being predominantly run-heavy over the last couple of seasons. We saw Will Levis throw 23 touchdown passes and kind of bring that air attack excitement to Kroger Field again. But it has also helped the running game.
Everybody knows, last year, that's all we did. So it's kind of been trying to get away and make it more even. Let's start throwing the ball. Let's start rushing. But throughout the season, as you can tell, we started getting more backs in. Everybody became more comfortable with the offense.
bringing new offense to a line that's pretty experienced and are used to running certain concepts. It kind of took a few games for us to kind of find our true identity and like what our bread and butter is.
Just adding a little bit of different variety in the run game has helped our players have success, I think, up front, and also just the leadership that we had up front with Luke Fortner, Darian Kennard, Horsey, all those guys that have played a lot of snaps.
I think sometimes when people see an air raid, they think the ground game is non-existent. Chris Rodriguez might just be the big X factor in this game against Iowa. We'll find out. In Orlando, Brian Milam for the Fox 56 Sports Extra.
All right, thank you, Brian. The basketball Cats have a quick turnaround coming off that 27-point win over Missouri on Wednesday, set to host Tubby Smith in High Point later today. One of the few times the pregame is more highly anticipated than the game itself. Kentucky will retire the jersey of Coach Tubby Smith into the Rupp Arena rafters, a very deserving honor for a national champion Kentucky coach.
To be honored that way is really humbling, and we're not looking forward to playing Kentucky, but we're looking forward to seeing friends and some of the fans that I know personally.
The biggest thing is I want he and his wife and the kids to understand that this place, these fans, this school, this state absolutely appreciates what he did while he coached here.
Certainly looking forward to that. That is a look at the 2-minute drill. There is more Fox 56 Morning Edition coming up after the break.
Judge Judy, weekdays at 5.
The Fox 56 Morning Edition starts now.
Welcome back to the Fox 56 Morning Edition here on WDKY.
We're looking at a warm New Year's Eve, but some big changes as the weekend goes on. Let's check in with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Rounds of heavy rain, maybe even some strong thunderstorms as well thrown into the mix out there late tonight going into the early morning hours tomorrow, and that could also lead to some flooding or flash flooding. Skycam view of Lexington, cloud cover locked in overhead, and we're going to keep the clouds around for most of the day. Eventually, we get a scattering of showers, and then we'll run into a better chance of rain late tonight. That's when the more widespread chances will arrive. We're comfortable with our numbers this morning. It's 47 in Lexington, 48 in Danville, 52 Somerset. So these numbers are fine. You look at the flood watch graphic and you find that quite a bit of real estate is taken up here by this flood watch. A chunk of southeastern Kentucky not included, but we all end up with some decent rainfall as this system gets cranked up and moves through the region. I will have a closer look at it coming up in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. 2 people are hurt after separate shootings in Lexington.
That tops this morning's local headlines. The first happened around 9 last night on Betsy Lane. That's near the Lexington Cemetery. First responders found a teen with life-threatening injuries. Then around 3 this morning, the parking lot of 3090 Old Todd's Road. Police say a man was found shot. He is expected to be okay. Now, no arrests have been made in either of those shootings. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward.
Officials in eastern Kentucky are on standby for severe weather potential in March. Historic flooding hit the region. Crews in Lee County spent part of yesterday checking their gear and developing response plans. Crews in Estill County are also on high alert.
Kentucky hospitals are still seeing COVID patients with Delta, even as Omicron spreads across the Commonwealth. According to data from this week, less than 10% of Central Kentucky's ICU beds are available. Doctors say they rarely see COVID patients who are unvaccinated.
Across the country, the Omicron variant is causing new COVID-19 cases to spike.
Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has a look at the record-breaking numbers and how children are being affected.
More COVID-19 records being broke here in the U.S. The CDC announcing more than 486,000 new positive cases were recorded in 24 hours on Wednesday, the highest single-day tally anywhere in the world since the start of the pandemic.
And I just wish this stuff come to an end.
The CDC also reporting an uptick in children being hospitalized with the virus, with roughly 400 kids admitted to medical centers each day between December 22nd through the 28th, a new high.
My daughter is for the second shot. My wife is for the third shot. So
I'm waiting for the third shot too.
Meanwhile, some communities are establishing more child-friendly vaccine clinics, like this superhero-themed event in Detroit.
I've had like 9 people in my family that have died from COVID, so we want to protect my mother, my siblings, and other people.
But the surge of the Omicron variant still has many parents at a crossroads.
It is a concern, but I think you just got to protect yourself and do what works for you.
As they want their kids to stay safe but not continue to lose out on life's experiences, like participating in high school sports.
They work so hard for this and have a lot of goals, and when you take away a year, it's whole different. We just have to learn to live with it.
Roughly 14% of kids ages 5 to 11 are fully vaccinated. That number goes up to 53% for those 12 to 17. Health experts say severe coronavirus complications in kids are rare. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Demand for at-home COVID tests remains high as well. Doctors say if you get one, you need to follow the instructions to a T. If you get a positive result, you should tell your healthcare provider, even if you don't develop symptoms. That can be especially important for younger patients.
For our older kids, they can get some of the same long COVID symptoms as adults. So I like to know that they've had COVID. So if they start having those symptoms, I know that treating it more as long COVID may need to be on our radar.
Doctors say you can treat mild COVID cases at home with fever reducers and proper hydration.
Well, the Wolfe County School System is setting up a free drive-through testing site for students and staff today. It's from 10 a.m. until 1 at the high school. Anyone living in the same house with a student can also be tested. They say you'll have results in 10 minutes.
President Biden is trying to de-escalate tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Yesterday, Biden spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin by phone. Tens of thousands of Russian troops are gathered outside Ukraine's border. For weeks, the U.S. has been threatening action if Russia makes an aggressive move.
Former Kentucky Democratic Party Chief Jerry Lundergan is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn his conviction. He was found guilty of illegally funneling $200,000 to his daughter, Allison Lundergan Grimes' campaign in 2014. He's arguing that the federal ban on corporate contributions is unconstitutional when applied to a close family member. If the Supreme Court accepts his petition, it could loosen campaign finance restrictions nationwide.
We're taking a close look at proposed maps for redistricting in Kentucky. House Republicans released their maps yesterday. They say it lines up with population changes shown in the 2020 census. In 4 districts, incumbents would have to run against each other. That includes 2 sets of Democrats in Louisville. Fayette County would include portions of 9 districts, down from 10. House Speaker David Osborne says Republicans did not consult with Governor Beshear.
I simply informed him yesterday that we would be introducing the plan today, making it public, and encouraged him to act with any questions that he may have. But certainly we didn't discuss any particular details other than timing.
Speaker Osborne says the House will file a bill on the new maps Tuesday, the first day of the legislative session. He expects the state Senate to release a map of Kentucky's congressional districts that same day.
A Confederate statue in Danville has been moved to a Meade County museum. A statue of Robert E. Logan set on church property next to Center College's campus. Both the church and college agreed to move it. Danville's mayor says the city didn't have a part in its removal since it was on private property. But he's glad students and neighbors will feel safer now that it's gone.
I think anytime as a public servant you can relieve angst, discomfort, frustration, that's a good thing. As long as it's done appropriately and as long as it's done fairly.
The statue weighed around 10 to 15 tons.
You're watching the Fox 56 Morning Edition, your only local newscast from 7 to 8.
Preparations are underway in Times Square ahead of a new scaled-down New Year's Eve celebration.
And we're tracking the potential of some very heavy rain across Kentucky. I have the hour by hour coming up.
Big Bang, weeknights at 7:30.
Sun's on its way up, the clouds are in the sky, and here we go. The final day of 2021 is well underway with the possibility of showers and thunderstorms coming our way, strong to severe even. Could likely roll into the Commonwealth a little later on tonight. But out there this morning, it's cloud cover that we're dealing with. Some of you might even have a little bit of fog you have to try to navigate through as well. It's 47 in Lexington, 50 in Danville, 54 in Somerset. So we do have some nice mild air bubbling up and around us all morning for you, and even all day today. I think we're well in the 60s, I think, by this afternoon, this evening. We'll look at our flood watch graphic, and it covers most of us because we end up with quite a bit of rainfall in a short amount of time in all of the counties you see highlighted here in green. So everybody surrounding Lexington under the gun for this, and then you go out to the southeastern portions of Kentucky, a chunk not included, but I still believe that in those areas we pick up some decent rainfall, 1 to 3 inches, certainly a good possibility there. Already seeing a few broken showers cruise over into far southern parts of Kentucky, getting into Wayne County right now, and also headed into Russell County as well. We look at our current temperature situation, and you find quite the difference between our southern states, and then you go up into the plains, and you find 14 below zero there in Bismarck. We're going to tap into some of that air by the end of the weekend. It's not going to be that cold, but we are going to get some of it delivered here into Kentucky with those temperatures coming way down. Look at the numbers as far as the rainfall is concerned here. Good 1 to 3, close to 4-inch totals expected, and that's including the little bit of rain we get today and tonight's rain and tomorrow. Really, the bulk of this falls today, tomorrow, and we're talking 24 hours worth of rain in a short amount of time, being 3 to 4 inches on the high end. Strong to severe storms possible out there. There's a marginal risk here in Lexington and all the way out into southeastern Kentucky. We'll look at the rain. Here comes that scattered chance for this afternoon. Again, not a washout, but the washout gets going late tonight, and then you can see the numbers. What's this? Watch the yellow come into play. The bigger chunk of some of the heaviest rain passing through our skies, and then it keeps on moving into eastern portions of Kentucky as well. We'll look ahead here to our 7-day forecast, and we've got that cold building in. At the end of the weekend, that's the end result of all of this that tries to come together out there, and then pretty gusty as we head into next week. All right, let's do a little traffic now. This is the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government Traffic Cam, and we have it locked in right now on High in Euclid. And well, I see 2 cars traveling along. A lot of folks get today as a holiday, so the roads shouldn't be as busy here this morning. But as folks head out late tonight, take it easy as you go out to celebrate and ring in the new year.
All right, Jim, thank you. Preparations are underway for New Year's Eve in Times Square.
Well, it's typically the biggest New Year's celebration in the country. It's being scaled back this year over concerns from the Omicron variant. Richard Giacovas reports.
On this night before the ball drop, a sea of tourists and regular New Yorkers stood shoulder to shoulder in Times Square.
There's just too many people and it's so crowded, and we were trying to cross the street a while ago and my sister was just like floating with everybody because there's so many people. It's really scary.
Flanked by dozens of NYPD officers who are already setting up for one of the biggest nights of the year.
2, 1, Happy New Year!
Some you will see and some you will not see.
A promise from the nation's largest police department that there will be plenty of police officers in Times Square, keeping a close eye on the only 15,000 revelers allowed in this year, down from the usual 58,000. Safety always a top priority, but this year health becomes just as important.
You're going to wear a mask, and that's the expectation for everyone.
Anyone who is planning on attending tomorrow night must also be fully vaccinated. Before entering Times Square, they'll go through vaccine checking stations before passing through one of 8 counterterrorism checkpoints.
Magnetometers, explosive trace detection machines, heavy weapons, and explosive detection canines.
A New Year's celebration that will look a bit different this time around, but at least it's better than last year. Those planning on coming tomorrow are just hoping for the same in 2022.
I'm hoping the New Year's going to be better than this year. We thought 20 was bad, but I think 21 ended up pretty bad.
Young Sheldon, weeknights at 7. Let the Bible Speak with Brett Hickey. A half hour of inspiration, scripture, and music.
Satan instills doubt, issues denials, and deceives the willfully gullible.
Start your Sundays with a message that will last all day and all week.
Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit.
Go online to letthebiblespeak.com.
Everything in the Old Testament points forward to Jesus.
Let the Bible Speak with Brett Hickey.
Sunday mornings at 6:30 on Fox 56.
Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory, 5 times a week.
Weeknights on Fox 56.
A Kentucky woman adopted as a baby got a chance to meet her biological mother halfway across the world.
Catherine Spalding lives in Hardin County now, but she was born in Germany. Her 17-year-old mother had to give her up, and an American couple took her home. 66 years later, Catherine reconnected with her long-lost relatives in Germany online. And they closed the distance with a meetup there this past October.
How you can have people that far away from you all those years and not know about them. And then when you meet them, it's like there's been no time, except there has been. There's been 66 years.
Catherine says she and her German family stay in touch, and she's currently planning another trip over there. Your time now, 7:51.
We still have more to come. Stay with us on the Fox 56 Morning Edition.
The Wildcats will play a 6th straight bowl game on Saturday when they face Iowa, but it should be the most balanced Kentucky has been on the offensive side of the ball in a bowl game in recent history. Brian Milam has more from Orlando.
Anytime there is a bowl game, much like the Tennessee-Purdue game, you want to see a lot of points, or at least that's the entertainment value. Kentucky revamped its offense this year after being predominantly run-heavy over the last couple of seasons. We saw Will Levis throw 23 touchdown passes and kind of bring that air attack excitement to Kroger Field again. But it has also helped the running game.
I mean, everybody knows, like, last year, that's all we did. So it's kind of been, like, trying to get away and make it more even. Let's start throwing the ball. Let's start rushing. But throughout the season, as you can tell, like, we started getting more backs in. Everybody became more comfortable with the offense.
Bringing new offense to a line that's pretty experienced and are used to running certain concepts, it kind of took a few games for us to kind of find our true identity and like what our bread and butter is.
Just adding a little bit of different variety in the run game has helped our players have success, I think, up front, and also just the leadership that we had up front with Luke Fortner, Darian Kennard, Horsey, all those guys that have played a lot of snaps.
I think sometimes when people see an air raid, they think the ground game is non-existent. Chris Rodriguez might just be the big X factor in this game against Iowa. We'll find out. In Orlando, Brian Milam for the Fox 56 Sports Extra.
All right, thank you, Brian. The basketball Cats have a quick turnaround coming off that 27-point win over Missouri on Wednesday, set to host Tubby Smith and High Point later today. One of the few times the pregame is more highly anticipated than the game itself. Kentucky will retire the jersey of Coach Tubby Smith into the Rupp Arena rafters, a very deserving honor for a national champion Kentucky coach.
To be honored that way is really humbling, and we're not looking forward to playing Kentucky, but we're looking forward to seeing friends and some of the fans that I know personally.
The biggest thing is I want he and his wife and the kids to understand that this place, these fans, this school, this state absolutely appreciates what he did while he coached here.
Certainly looking forward to that. That is a look at the 2-minute drill. There is more Fox 56 Morning Edition coming up after the break.
There we are, looking at the possibility of some strong to severe thunderstorms late tonight going into tomorrow, and then much colder and wetter beyond that, guys.
All right, Jim, thanks, and thank you all so much for watching.
Happy New Year's.
The following program is a paid commercial which has been paid for by the advertiser whose products and/or services are featured in this program.